so much for joining me for my weekly Limitless Live. I'm so glad you're here. And before we know it, it's already February. As you know, every month I have a different theme. Last month we talked about health and fitness, and I hope that these things that you've learned from last month you can carry over throughout the year. February is the month that I focus on emotional intelligence. And that's really not about being less emotional. When we talk about emotional intelligence, it's really about becoming more emotionally aware, being more grounded, being more empowered. Because the goal is really not getting rid of emotions. The goal is to understand your emotions. And today I want to start with this foundation of emotional intelligence. If you've been following me for years, we talk about this every February. Emotional intelligence has 5 different categories, but so you can definitely go back on my YouTube channel and review what they are. But today, I want to talk about what the neuroscience calls name it to tame it. And I want you to ask yourself if you've ever said something like, I don't know why I reacted that way, or I feel overwhelmed, but I don't know why, or even I'm just emotionally exhausted. And if you ask yourself questions like that, this episode is really for you because emotional awareness is the foundation of everything. Emotional intelligence starts with this one simple, powerful skill of just knowing what you are feeling. You should know what you are feeling before you even communicate. It is important before you even set boundaries. It is very important before healing and even before your confidence. Dr. Daniel Goleman wrote this very famous book, The Emotional Intelligence. He introduces the term EQ to the mainstream. And that book, Emotional Intelligence, says if you are unable to recognize your own emotions, you will not be able to manage those emotions effectively. Most people don't struggle because they are too emotional. They struggle because they're emotionally unaware. When emotions go unnamed, they run this show very quietly from the background. If you don't know why you're reacting the way you're reacting and you're unaware of what you are feeling when you're reacting with this specific reaction, then you are not emotionally aware, and so this pattern will continue to come back. So the brain science, we're going to call it name it to tame it. This phrase is not just a motivational phrase that we use. It's actually a neurological phrase. And Dr. Dan Siegel, he's the author of The Whole Brain Child. He explains that when you name your emotions, there is an actual brain science behind it. The prefrontal cortex, which is the thinking brain, activates. The amygdala, which is the center of the alarm, calms down. Surprisingly, once you know what your emotion is, your nervous system calms down. When you put the feelings into words, it calms your nervous system. So that means when you say, I feel rejected, I feel anxious, I feel disappointed, you are literally helping your brain to regulate itself. When you ignore those emotions, it doesn't make you stronger. It makes you emotions much louder. Your emotions are just going to not be able to be controlled because you don't know why you're feeling that. Some people do avoid naming their emotions because most of us are taught from a very young age this emotional languages of don't cry, be strong, boys don't cry, you're being too reactive, you are overreacting, you're too emotional, just move on. These are things that we have learned from early age, which are very dismissive of our feelings. And when we dismiss our feelings, we can't deal with them. Our nervous system can't calm the nervous system down. Our brain doesn't internalize what is it that you are feeling. So what we are taught is, instead of saying I feel lonely, we say I'm fine, right? How many of us, when somebody's asking how are you feeling, I'm good, right? It's a standard answer because you don't want people to know how exactly you're feeling, and you are trying to hide that feeling yourself as well. Instead of saying I am scared, we say I'm busy. Instead of saying I feel hurt, we say people are annoying. So we basically have this different perspective because we're hiding our feelings. Instead of saying I am hurt, we are trying to hide it by a different phrase. So when we acknowledge the emotions don't disappear, but now they show up as anxiety, irritation, irritability. We shut down, we feel exhaustion, we have emotional distance. Because emotional intelligence isn't emotional weakness, it's emotional honesty with compassion. Now, there's a difference between emotion and reaction. Emotions are information. When you're feeling a certain way, that is information about how your body is internalizing this. Reactions are choices. You are allowed to feel anger, feel jealousy, feel sadness, feel fear. Emotional intelligence doesn't say don't feel it. It says feel it, but then choose. When you name that emotion, and that is the biggest strength of identifying your emotions. When you name that emotion, you now can create a pause. And that pause is power. When you understand that you are being reactive and now you name why this reaction happens. You are reactive because you feel rejected. You are avoidant because you feel loss of freedom. When you name that emotion, you are now able to deal with that emotion. And that is so powerful. Because most adults really operate with 5 emotional words. Most of us use the words good, bad, fine, stressed, and tired. But emotional intelligence really grows with language. So instead of saying, I'm angry, ask yourself, am I frustrated? Am I disappointed? Am I restful? Am I overwhelmed? What is it that you are feeling? Instead of saying, I am sad, ask yourself, why am I sad? Am I grieving? Am I feeling lonely? Am I hurt? Am I feeling disconnected? When you're asking the exact emotion instead of just the simple definition of these 5 simple feelings, there's more to it, right? When you're feeling anxious, why is this feeling coming to surface? Is it because you're feeling lonely? Is it because you're feeling fear? Is it because you're feeling rejected? What is it underneath that emotion of being anxious? Ask yourself, what am I really feeling underneath that big feeling that we're saying? The more precise the word is, the more calm your body becomes. So let's say somebody doesn't text you back. Low awareness reaction will be they don't care. And if they don't care, then I'm done. High awareness response will be I feel anxious and I even feel a little bit rejected and I need reassurance. Same situation, different emotional intelligence. And because of the different emotional intelligence, there is a different outcome. So I want you to really reflect. And if you want me to send you a monthly emotional intelligence worksheet, a workbook, I can send that to you free of charge. Just message me and I will send that so you can follow my lives throughout this month. But I want you to just reflect. I hope you have a journal, and if you don't have a journal, it is so important. It really liberates everything that's just inside of you onto a paper, and it makes you feel a lot better. So I want you to journal. What emotions do I avoid naming? What is it that you're feeling that you're afraid of exposing it? What feeling shows up most often for me lately? When you're feeling sad, when you're feeling anxious, when you're feeling avoidance, what is it that shows up? And when I'm triggered, what emotion is underneath that triggered reaction? Like I gave an example, when you're sad, what is underneath that sadness? Why do you feel sad? What would change if I honor my emotions instead of judging these emotions? Let the silence work. When you're sitting with your own silence, you can get a lot of answers. Journaling is so powerful. And I truly encourage you all to journal daily, but take a couple of minutes. Take 2-3 minutes just to reflect just those feelings and check in with yourself throughout the day. Throughout the day, we have so many different feelings because things happen. Check in with yourself. Just pause for a minute and say, what am I feeling right now? That really helps regulate your nervous system. And here's what I want you to take with you from this session. Your emotions are not problems to solve. They are actually messages that you should listen to. When you listen to your body, when you listen to your emotions, these emotions actually guide you. When you ignore them, they start controlling you. So if you ignore the sadness without knowing what caused that sadness, you continue being more and more in a state of sadness because you don't really know what's underneath that. So this week, I want you to practice very simply. Pause, name the emotion at any given moment of your day, and offer yourself compassion. Really try to understand what's underneath every emotion that you're going through throughout the day. Next week, we're going to talk about how to regulate emotions once you actually name them. It's very important to regulate, and some of us, it's a lot harder for us to regulate a certain emotion, especially when we are invested in that feeling. But today, I just want you to remember self-awareness is really strength. Emotional clarity is power. And emotional intelligence is a skill that everyone can build because you are not broken and you are still becoming. I hope that helps you. And this month in the book club, we are going to read the Book of Joy. It's just a phenomenal book. And if you're not in my book club, I'm offering everyone who wants to join this month, please reach out to me and I will tell you how you can join that. The Book of Joy will change your perspective on life. Everybody goes through things, but if you learn to see the good in life, it really does change. So thank you for joining me today. I'm looking forward to see you again next week. Next week, we'll talk about responding instead of reacting. Thank you so much, and I'll see you soon. Have a great week, guys.